Here's a thought. If we hadn't gotten The Force Unleashed, we may never have gotten to Jedi Fallen Order. Hello everyone, Jeremy here. Today I'm going to do a discussion video on a very interesting comment I got the other day about Starkiller or The Force Unleashed games. And this is something I've thought a lot about, so I wanted to do this as a video so we can all discuss it. And I'm not going to read this whole comment, but I am going to address parts of it. And, well, let's just get into it, and I want to see what you think. The question I got in the comments was, do you think Galen Marek / Starkiller fit in canon or your head canon? And it basically goes on to say that, Vader having an apprentice wouldn't really be unheard of because the rule of two, the Sith, like Sidious, took Maul on as an apprentice when presumably Plagueis may have still been alive. So, they tend to take on these apprentices, basically making a third that those two intend on overthrowing the other. So, Starkiller, okay, I completely follow that. And also the fact that it would be quite poetic for Anakin to have two apprentices, one from the light and one from the dark, meaning Ahsoka and then Starkiller. And then, of course, it goes into the irony of Vader creating the Rebel Alliance accidentally. My headcanon versus what I think you could do to bring them in canon are pretty much the same. The way I look at it is you can't take the games as though they are a completely accurate representation, because everybody always goes to the argument of, well, they can't be canon because he's way too OP, that Starkiller's just pulling down Star Destroyers and he throws everybody around, he's more powerful than Vader, yada yada. I always take that as just a video game mechanic. I don't consider that, even when I played the game, I never considered that part of the game to be canon. Like when this game first came out and I played the game, I was like, no, these are the video game parts. This story is what is canon. If Starkiller tossed 20 guys out around him, it didn't really matter that it was impossible, really, for someone to do that with the Force to me, because it was just a game mechanic. It was just a heightened version of what we would do with the Force, and it just, quite frankly, made it fun. The other argument about the mechanics is, and the story I've heard is, he was pulling down Star Destroyers. Hard to argue that one. That one, yeah, you could not make that canon. The only way I could see making that canon is if you, instead of saying he pulled down the Star Destroyer, he actually was somehow grabbing onto the target, or not targeting, the piloting, driving, navigation. Somehow he got into their navigation with the Force and was actually crashing the Star Destroyer in, which would be an incredible feat in itself, but at the same time, that's far more plausible than him pulling down a Star Destroyer just with the Force. If you were to canonize the game, that would be something I'd pretty much say you'd have to leave out. The other sticky part is the Rebel Alliance, because he mentioned it in here that Vader, if you haven't played the game, by the way, I'm really going to be spoiling the crap out of it, so play the game and then watch it. Vader accidentally creates the Rebel Alliance, trying to basically gather all the enemies of the Emperor together and wanting to take them out in one fell swoop. However, while I think that is a clever twist on the Rebels, I don't know that it lines up time-wise, so I don't think that could be canon, because the series Rebels, which is canon, takes place, I want to say, about the same time as the first Force Unleashed, and I don't see how that could possibly work, because the Alliance already existed. The Rebels from the show were already a part of the Alliance, though it wasn't really named at first. So, and they were even using the Rebel symbol. They were using their own variation of it, but once you did start seeing other Rebels, the Rebel symbol existed, and supposedly the symbol and the Alliance came all from the Force Unleashed. So the only way you could change that, the only way you could actually make that work, is if you said the events of the Force Unleashed took place much further back, and then I don't think Leia's age would match up. She would have to be 13 or 14 years old for it to fit canon, and she is not 13 or 14 years old in The Force Unleashed. I think if you were to bring Starkiller into canon, you kind of have to, okay, the game is more or less canon. From a certain point of view, it's canon. And in a sense, it is Legends, but it is legend based on reality. That Starkiller existed, all these things happened, just some of the details are off. And that's kind of the way I look at it. It's like, I like to keep it a little bit in my headcanon, like it could have happened, just some of the details are just slightly off. And that really, to me, is the way it works. However, the way I'd really want it to happen is if Filoni had actually intended on bringing, or considered bringing Starkiller into Rebels as an Inquisitor. To me, that's perfect. That is exactly what you should do. You should. In fact, I hope they kind of do this with Jedi Fallen Order too. They could potentially still do that in that game, where you bring in Starkiller as an Inquisitor that changes sides. Almost identically to what we saw happen in The Force Unleashed, at least where Vader adopts him in secret and trains him to be an Inquisitor, but the events kind of unfold similarly, where he starts questioning things, he starts learning where he came from, Vader betrays him, all these things come to a head, and he eventually has to part ways and realize he would be better off as a Jedi. Tell me that wouldn't be compelling as crap to see in something like a TV series, kind of mirror what happened in the game, but not be exact. This was my really long way of saying, I don't think he fits into canon, but I think he could. All right, what do you think? Do you think, does he fit in your head canon at all? Are you just okay with him being no longer canon? Like I said, what do you think? Leave your comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe to see more content like this. As always, before I go, please take care of yourselves and please take care of each other. Thank you for watching.